The Denver Broncos schedule is officially out. We know the exact dates for every single game, but there was some controversy after one team's schedule release, and Broncos fans are rioting. They are pissed, but I can't wait to dive into the Broncos schedule. In this one, we're going to go through the whole thing, wins, losses, what we're expecting to see this season, and then finally the controversy that another team has sparked with their schedule release, specifically targeted toward the Denver Broncos. But before we get into this one, I'd just like to say that this video is in fact brought to you by PrizePicks, the #1 sports picking app in America. Play $5, get $50 instantly. Click the link at the top of the description. Sign up using code DIGEST. Thank you to everyone that's already signed up. It really helps out the channel. So let's get into this one. First of all, here's the Broncos schedule. Let me drink some water, because we got a lot of talking to do. I found this nice image that broke down the schedule by month instead of the exact date, because I guess the exact date doesn't exactly matter, but we got a good amount of prime times. This schedule doesn't highlight how many we got. I think we got 5 or 4, which is fantastic. I know this week 1 game against the Chiefs is prime time. The Rams game is prime time. The Bills game is prime time. The Patriots game is TBD, but likely to be prime time. The Seattle game is probably prime time. But anyways, regardless of that, people are calling the Broncos weeks 1 through 6 the schedule of doom and despair, because you have the Kansas City Chiefs, who should be fully healthy, and you're going into Arrowhead week 1. Then you have the Jaguars at home, but that was a tough game for the Broncos last year. Then you have the Rams in week 3, who, again, at home for the Broncos, but generally considered the best team in the NFL, if we're being honest. Then at San Francisco, which is going to be tough. Week 4, they're likely to be healthy. Week 5 at the Chargers, that's not going to be an easy one either, especially if they're healthy. And then week 6 at home, but we have to play the defending Super Bowl champions. Weeks 1 through 6 are tough. Can see us splitting, going 3-3 with losses to the Rams, Niners, and Seahawks. Also, you could very well see 1-5, although that's a bit of a stretch. Like, the Jacksonville Jaguars game is the only one that I feel 100% confident about. Now, I think we beat Kansas City, but the other 4 are tough games. The Chargers are a tough matchup, especially when healthy. The Seahawks are going to be tough. They didn't lose that much in free agency to the point where they're not going to be elite. The Niners are going to be extremely difficult to beat. I mean, but I think that the Niners, of all these teams aside from Jacksonville, and Kansas City, are the next closest one we beat. But I can see us losing to the Rams, Chargers, and Seahawks. But you got to be able to beat one of those top dogs, and I think they can. I'm not saying they're not gonna. I just don't expect to go 6-0 to start the season. If they do start the season 6-0, we're going undefeated the rest of the way. I mean, we have the Cardinals then next, and the Cardinals, not exactly a tough matchup, probably the second worst team in the NFL. Then we get the Chiefs at home. That should be a win. Then we got at Carolina, which is not an easy win by any means, in my opinion. I don't think Carolina is going to be an easy slouch. I think they're going to be pretty good, but I think they have to beat Carolina. I think they do beat Carolina. And then week 10, you get the bye, and then you get the Raiders. That's a little bit lame, in my opinion. Now, I'm happy we got a pretty a solid week for a bye week, week 10 right in the middle. I like that. But getting the Raiders the next week, no disrespect to the Raiders, but the Broncos need to sweep them. They're going to sweep them. And the fact that the bye weeks after the Raiders means we only get that extra week of preparation for the Raiders, when I rather get that week of preparation with a team like the Bills or the Patriots or the Seahawks rather than the Raiders. But that's okay. Then we get at Pittsburgh. I'm pretty sure that game is primetime, and it might be a holiday game as well, if I'm not mistaken. It could be that Thanksgiving week, but someone would have to let me know if I'm wrong. This might be a Sunday Night Football or a Monday Night Football type game. And then we get the Dolphins, who are the worst team in the NFL. The Jets, probably the 3rd worst team in the NFL. The Raiders, bottom 5 team in the NFL. The Bills will be a tough one. The last 3 weeks of the season are going to be hard, especially if these teams are still fighting for a spot in the division, or fighting for a spot just in the playoffs. The Bills, late in the year, that's a Christmas Day game. That's going to be awesome. And then at New England is not going to be easy, especially in January. It's going to be similar weather to what we had in Denver for our AFC Championship game, so we know that's not going to be fun. And then the Chargers at home for us, that should be a win. But you never know; it could be fighting to the death for whatever spot in the playoffs. So this schedule is very interesting. I'd say our easiest month, and the months that really will determine the season, is if we get our wins, the wins we need to be getting in November and December. Let's say through September and October, there's 7 games. Let's say we go 4-3. Then you look at the rest of these games here, I see maximum 2 losses. So that puts us at, what is that? How many games are here? 4 plus 4 is 8. So that gives us 10-5, and then these January games, even if we split, would still give us a 11-6 record, which is not bad whatsoever. I think that that's completely valid and a reasonable take. Now, I can easily see the Broncos winning more games. There are a few games you can see them potentially losing. Now, for some reason, the Jets seem to be a struggle, and something that is just in my mind that relatively worrisome to me is last year, all of these one-score victories. Now, you may say, oh, well, a win's a win, which is true. But if you remember the year before that, we were all like, oh, we're better than we seem to be, because we kept losing all these one-score games. And this past season, we flipped the script and won all those one-score games. So I don't think we lost a single one-score game, and that's going to change this season. That's not a sustainable way to win. So unless we're blowing teams out, or if we're winning by more than one score, I can see us losing some of these one-score games, and we have familiar opponents in the schedule. We play the Raiders and Chiefs 4 times again, and all 4 of those games are one score. So could see a couple of those potentially flip. The Jets game was a one-score game. I could see that one flip. For some reason, the Jets are a very painful matchup for us. However, I think the thing that makes me more confident in playing the Jets is that Geno Smith is the quarterback, and he did not look good against the Broncos anytime he's faced the team. So I'm not mad about that at all. The Dolphins, again, easy win. There's some easy wins in here, but relatively a hard schedule, if I'm being honest. A lot of playoff teams. The only non-playoff teams are the Jets, Dolphins, Cardinals, and Raiders. The rest of them are all playoff teams, all teams that made it last season, all teams that are capable of making it this season. So it's going to be a fun one, but let's dive into the drama that the Chargers have created. But before we do that, again, this video is brought to you by Prize Picks, and if you do not know, there is NBA basketball today. Game 6, Cavs, Pistons. Cavs up 3-2. Here are my point predictions. More than 19.5 points for James Harden. Now, that is a risky one. Harden has shown that he's not very good in those Game 7, Game 6 elimination games where it matters most, but I think he's hitting his stride. I think he's finding confidence, even in this, what is he, 36 years old? I think he's finally breaking through that mold of, oh, I'm a bad player in the clutch. He's been amazing for the Cavs this playoffs for the most part. He's had a couple stinkers, but otherwise good. Jalen Duren, more than 10.5 points. This is his exact average for the playoffs, but I think he goes off for a little bit more here in desperation for the Pistons, and the same thing for Cade Cunningham. Even if they lose, Cade should still be giving them 30 points. But getting on to this drama here, the Chargers social media team killed it again with their schedule release video, and here's them taking their annual shots at the Broncos, featuring Bo Nix and his ankle injury and Stiddy at the end. It's actually, so you'd have to go watch it. I can't play video on here, but the Chargers did a Halo release schedule or release video, and they had somebody throw a sticky grenade on Bo Nix's ankle, and it exploded. And then later on, down by week 18, it was Bo Nix falling down the mountain, landing on the mountain, and then Jarrett Stidham entered the game, and then the Patriots jumped him and beat him. And it's a video game. It is what it is. I think it's personally pretty funny. I think what they did with every team was pretty creative, pretty funny. The Raiders one was funny, saying that their fans are in prison. The Chiefs ones were funny, saying that they get the refs help. The Patriots one was funny, saying that they have a cupcake schedule. So I personally don't have a problem with it, but I understand if you think it's a little bit far, poking fun at a team's injuries. But unless the Broncos or unless Bo Nix felt personally attacked, I don't know if fans should be getting upset for him. But I'd love to hear what you have to say about the Chargers schedule release video. Do you think that it's too far? Do you think it's funny? I personally think that it's funny. I think that it's okay. I think everything's fair game. I mean, they went after Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini. I think that they're willing to go after anything and everything that they can. And don't take it too personally, man. We're going to own the Chargers this year, so we'll let the football do the talking. We don't need our schedule to do the talking, but I'd love to hear what you have to say about this one. How do you think the Broncos are going to do this season? How do you feel after the schedule release? And what do you think about that Chargers video? And until next time, y'all, Broncos Country, make sure to subscribe to not miss any content. Thank you so much. And until next time, y'all, Broncos Country, let's ride.